No, I don't. I have a lollipop. Oh,
Everyone
yeah,
ready?
yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Township Committee regular meeting for Monday, March 15th, 2021. Please rise for the flag salute. Bobby, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on January the 11th, 2021. Adequate notice of in-person attendance and live streaming with calling capability was provided by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on December the 16th, 2020. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mrs. Link?
Here,
Mr. Vitale?
Here.
Mayor Mayor Kane.
Here.
One of these days.
Please join us in a moment of private silence for private reflection. Okay. Do we have any guest presentations? I do not see any.
No.
So we'll move right along to the late deletion of late addition items. We're going to add 4B, brief discussion on creation of a township fire coordinator position, and we are going to delete 8E, the resolution denying release of maintenance guarantee. I believe that matter has been resolved, so we're in good shape. So moved.
second.
There's a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Next, we have early public comment on agenda items, excluding items listed for public hearings. Do we have anyone in the public that wishes to speak? If so, please unmute yourself. Do you have anyone on the call?
No one from the public is speaking up, Mr. Mayor.
I'll entertain a motion to close.
Move.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we'll begin with item number 3, which is the 2021 budget. Mr. Administrator?
Good evening, Township Committee. I'm Arch Liston, the Township Administrator. Cynthia Lindsay, who's our Chief Municipal Finance Officer, and I wanted to present the facts of the 2021 budget. I need to make a clarification on a major item in this budget that has come about. On Thursday, I believe it was, the president signed the $1.9 trillion act, which besides providing funds for families, has also provided funds for local and state governments. What is filtering down to us from the state, we've had conversations as late as Friday afternoon, and we're waiting for instructions today. There may be some adjustments to this budget in the sense of revenues coming down from the federal government to the state, then to local governments. We are getting initial projections that we may get over the next 2 years revenues of about $2.5 million. The issue being with that is we have not received instructions on how we can utilize those funds. So what we're looking at is we're going to give you a presentation this evening on a budget we worked on, and give Cindy credit. She is worked very diligent and very hard on this over the last couple months, putting together what I consider a very good budget. But this is a case where we've worked on things to the last minute, for only at the last minute the potential of them being changed is substantial. So we'll go through this and we'll point out the things that the appropriation side we think is absolutely complete. On how the revenue side is going to be may change, so just be aware of that during the presentation. We're going to talk about potential tax increases in this budget, but again, with the change in the information from the feds and state, that may not occur or may occur in some variation of it. So this is a work in progress at this point, which we thought we had the problem resolved. But I'll start and we'll go through it. And if, as we go through, if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to stop me. Go back. All right, this is basically our tax structure. As we see the comparisons from 2020 to 2021, the county, I will say the county has not, the rates have not been struck yet. These are projections off of last year, and same thing with the schools. But as the bottom one, this doesn't have a pointer on it, does it? No. What we're looking at from a local purpose tax for our for this year would be an amount of $18,492,816, which would be the local part of the taxes of the total levy of the $69 million. Remember, the $69 million is broken up between what I'll call, we take the money at the local level, and then we've got to kick it to the schools, and we've got to kick it up to the county. So the total we take is just over the 69.4, and we keep 18.4 out of this budget. See? All right, there we go. As I stated, we're looking at the levy of 18.4. Local tax rate would go from the 88.1. If again, considering on things staying the same, and we're looking at a total assessed evaluation of just over $2 billion for the total municipality. The important number that is in parentheses is to the right, third one down. In parentheses is a $30.4 million. That is our rateable base that we have lost in 1 year. This is the important number to look at because this is what the tax base is when you do your taxes are based off of, is what your rateable base is. This is due to commercial tax appeals over last year. So we've lost 1.48% of our total number, which would be if there were a tax increase, if there's going to be, that would be part of the tax increase. But the important number here is the 30.4 million that we've lost since last year. We must be very, very aware that going into 22 and 23, we are going to have commercial tax appeals that may affect this number much greater than the 30 million. The commercial markets are taking a major hit, even though our residential property values are going up. The major properties, the commercial properties, are going down. So that will have an effect on us. Proportionate taxes. When people complain about taxes, especially to elected officials, sometimes they're not very aware of the fact that of the total amount of taxes that they do pay the municipality, only 27.2% actually go into the local purpose tax. The rest of it goes to the county tax, and a substantial amount goes to your local schools and to the regional high schools. So when you're talking over half of your tax bill is going for schools. Shows a balanced budget. Look at 27.9 on both sides of the equation. This is the adopted budgets over since 2009. What you're looking at is the increases, and when you go up from 25.4 million in 2009 to 27.9, that's the total budget numbers. The more important number is this is what the amount is to be raised by taxes. And when you look at this number in 2009, we had to raise 16.1 million. And when you adjust that number up to 2021, and looking at this year, we'd have to raise 18.4. Just a quick number that I calculated out. If we adjusted for inflation over the same period of time, and this period from 2009 to about 2019 would be considered the Great Recession. Our number for 2021, adjusted for inflation, would be about 19.8 million. So we've kept costs well below the inflationary rate over this period of time. This is our debt history. I think this is an important factor. Obviously, the municipality, when we go out for bonding, and when people look at the condition for doing development in a community, one thing they want to know is what your debt rates are. We have a very, very low debt ratio compared to total assessed value, making the town obviously very attractive for bond issuers and for people investing in the community. Again, full-time employees, when you look at the numbers from 2007, you look at through the great 2008, obviously the great period of layoffs here at 2011, 2012. Presently, we are at 124 employees, which considering over the period of time has been stable and obviously keeps costs down. All right, this is a chart. If we are to raise taxes at the rate we talked about, if you look at the column on your left, the property assessment values, and you look across and you look at your household costs, what your actual increases would be. And let's just take the crosshair there. If your house were valued at $275,000, and you would look at an increase, an annual increase of $81 if your house was valued at that much, that'd be your total cost of local purpose over that period of for 1 year be $81 if we don't adjust this with the new money. Average house in the community valued at $163,000. Again, this is assessed value, and let's just remember assessed value is different than market value. So an assessed value at 163. Local taxes, local purpose taxes would be $1,483 with the increase.
With the increase?
How's the $1,483 broken up? General government, public safety, public works, solid waste. When we talk about public safety, we talk about all the factors of public safety. We talk about contributions to the fire department. We're talking obviously the workers' comp costs, the liability costs of the fire department and EMS. And then we're talking about the police department, salaries, wages, benefits, and pension costs for police. Public works services include obviously cost of street lighting. Big one this year was more, not, I wouldn't call it snow removal, I call it more ice remediation than snow. But there's a substantial cost in that, obviously with salt, with the new salt barn, it saved us some money. Flood mitigation, stormwater management, maintaining the parks and street maintenance. You pay for your solid waste this year, which we're proud to get the new can up there. The Hamilton Township can on your left, which is the dark gray cans that we use through the ACUA. It also includes your a large cost in the recycling and your tipping fees and solid waste, leaves, and grass. General government services, these are the things that every government is required to do in the state, every local government is required to do. Obviously, audits, clerk's office, finance, we're required to have the insurances, the township engineer, and tax assessor, tax collector, and the website and zoning things. These are all things that we are required to do in accordance with for local government. Okay, there we go. This is a very another important number. This is the operating surplus that we've used in the budget this year and in the past since 2009. And you can see that this year we're using just a little bit less than last year, and from 2019 just a little bit over. The important thing is we've been able to maintain the surplus at a stable rate over the last few years, even considering this year with COVID. We did get some money back from COVID-19 relief to help us through the year, through the operating year, which will roll over in 22. But what we're looking at is stabilizing of funds through the surplus. All right, we continue to invest in public safety, obviously. We're looking at the continued support of our volunteer fire departments, the cost of the volunteer fire departments with the low SAP costs, which are the low SAP is a retirement, semi-retirement system for the volunteer fire departments. We're looking at, obviously gas, liability insurances, maintenance of vehicles, all of those, and then we're looking at the continued purchases of vehicles, and we're looking at obviously a substantial amount of vehicle replacement in this budget through utilizing hybrid vehicle replacement for over the next 7 to 10 year period. All right, what's in the budget obviously is recovery from the 2020 COVID-related imbalances without borrowing. The state did authorize a structure of borrowing or restructuring costs over the next 5 years. I will say that we did not have to do that going forward. We were able to substantiate our costs well within this year's budget. So we don't have those extra costs over the next 5 years. We are maintaining all existing services, obviously with the Cove being open this summer and all other services available. We are looking at cost of a down payment plan for a capital plan of about $2 million this year. And depending on how the committee wants to structure that and for what capital costs we're looking at, that'll be discussed probably within the next 60 to 90 days. Again, that number may depend on how we look at the money coming in. We're supporting the money for public events, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. We still have money built into that. If we can get out of COVID, we hope to continue those efforts. And then with the healthcare costs, concessions, and with the contracts, the labor contracts, we're looking to continue 2% raises for employees for this year. All right, what's not this year? No reduction in force, no school tax deferral. That means that you're putting off paying your taxes. It's a gimmick. You pull in a budget to increase your cash flow a little bit. We're not doing that. We have a very conservative approach and have been, and no reduction in services at all. All right, here's your 12-year analysis. This kind of speaks for itself, and it's kind of redundant, but it gives you the 12-year history. Just to remind people, this PowerPoint will be up on our website as of tomorrow morning, so if they want to look at it, it will be there. But this just gives you the history over the years. So you can see where our budget is down, as introduced this year a little bit. So it is very obviously stable, and we're being very conservative. All right, here's the process as of right now. We're looking at introducing the budget today. We would look at a public hearing on the 19th, amend the amendments if any, and then adopt the budget on the 19th. That was our projected schedule as of last Thursday, but we will see how that evolves over the next couple weeks on instructions from the DCA and Division of Local Government Services, who has yet to put out instructions on how we're going to approach the influx of new federal money. And questions, comments, discussion?
Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, this is not a gift from the government. Obviously this pandemic put us in this situation for the loss of ratables, and it's money well-deserved coming back into the community. And obviously we hope we get it. It looks like we're going to. And as you said, this proposed tax increase could be negated with those funds coming in. So let's hope they do the right thing and it comes to us and we get them. I do want to comment on the department heads for really understanding what went on last year and holding the line in each and every department where we're seeing a reduction of, I'm calculating, are we close to 400 grand? Yeah. So 328,000. That's commendable, and they all should be thanked for holding the line and understanding what the entire population's going through. Again, any proposed increase is only because of the ratable base loss. Proposing this budget the way you put it together, seeing the continued debt reduction. I mean, we've reduced over $10 million in debt in the last 10 years. I mean, that's to be commended. And maintaining, as you said and pointed out several times, an adequate surplus so we protect ourselves moving into the future. So overall, I think for what we've been through, it's a very good budget.
I have a question about local tax levy and assessed values. When we sort of total up all the buildings and all the land and blah, 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 what is our assessed value? It's $2
billion,
2 billion.
30 million, 597, 250.
Okay. And so because of the pandemic and the loss of the ratables, and when you said 30 million, we lost in a sense. Okay. But that only translates into 1.8%. Now, is that the total of the county, the schools, the this, the that? Is that what we're looking at?
This is the rateable base of Hamilton Township. This is what Hamilton, the schools, and the municipal will base their rate on.
Yeah, because I know our when we look at our total expenditures, it's what, 27? And I'm thinking, how could we be at 27, but it's the total?
The school and the county will suffer the same loss.
Okay, so that's my question, that we're not the only ones who have suffered from the pandemic being closed, I know for a fact.
The only difference is the county, because the county will equalize it. So there might be some slight variations to their equalized values of how the county will share the pain, every municipality will share in that.
So this includes the casinos too, or?
Well, the casinos are in a pilot program now, so they're paying based on a specific calculation. They are not included in the tax rateable base.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be looking forward with maybe bated breath, or, yeah, we will, I hopefully get something from the federal government in this 1.9 passage of the bill. So
Our hope.
that would be good. So all right. Yeah, I had some other questions here. We have to raise more taxes to what, a total of 18,492,000 local tax revenues. So we're going up from last year. All right, now in raising those taxes, we're putting an assessment on our taxpayers, a 2 point something or other, raise their taxes. Now, if the government comes through, the federal and state come through, will we still raise that?
We don't know what the guidelines are going to be.
Okay,
Potentially it could be used for tax relief, but we don't know what the guidelines. The Division of Local Governmental Services has not given us any guidelines yet.
okay.
Do you have any idea how much it might be?
About 2.5.
0.5 million,
1.2 this year and 1.2 next year.
right, spread over 2 years.
I mean, obviously, that would be, I'm confident the wishes of the committee, if we could offset that with that money coming in so that there is no impact to our residents.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I'm sort of driving at.
And again, that's why I made the comment earlier. I mean, it's not like it's a gift to us. I mean, we're in that situation because of the pandemic. That's where.
Yeah,
we're
well,
coming
that's
from.
why the whole country is in that,
Exactly, right.
and that's why we had that bill passed. So, okay. Let me see, I think that's it. In 2021, full-time employees, we went down from 127 to 124. Did we lose people in the?
Or retired, and we didn't replace their positions.
Okay, cool. All right, good. It sounds really silly, but I've had some complaints about how our trash has been collected. In collecting the trash from these units, they put them on the back, they have to lift them up, and then they dump the trash. It's electrically. But there's an initial, labor that is done. Before, we had, put out our trash, and this gigantic machine came and lifted them and tossed them into there. What has been complaint is that in this way of emptying the trash, there has been some trash that has sort of gotten on the street or hasn't been as efficient as the one that we had before. Have you had any complaints about that? I've had some complaints.
Well, if residents have complaints about the trash and the spillover effect, I mean, there's an 800 number the ACUA has that they can call directly, and the ACUA radio dispatches their trucks and also has supervisors on the street that they can immediately respond to. So the quickest way to solve the problem is to get the ACUA so they can record the call, understand where the problem's at, and resolve the problem.
Okay. All right. Well, that would be good. I do have a question. How come I got a smaller trash can than I had before?
Exactly the same size that Waste Management had.
No, it isn't.
We ordered 96-gallon ones.
I mean, maybe I paid for a especially big one, and it was a lot bigger than the one that we have. And I noticed when I was, certain communities, they did have bigger trash, you say they're all consistently the same
Yeah,
size?
the 96 gallon is the standard in the industry. Actually, the ones that we hand out are the largest. If you, as senior citizens, you can actually request smaller ones, and we can get you, I think they're 62 gallons, and even smaller ones, you can get 30 gallons if you can't handle them. But that's the standard that Waste Management, we follow whatever Waste Management was doing with theirs, and ordered the same ones that they were using.
I know I got a smaller one. That's all I know.
Well, maybe physically the outside of the can is smaller because of technology, but I think what Mr. Liston's saying, the gallonage, what you can put in it
Yeah.
is the same as what you previously had.
Yeah. Well, okay. I just,
Maybe
you know,
you're creating more trash.
because that happened to my daughter too. And we're trashy people. What can I say? What was it? Okay. So how much did we save by going to this service? Or is it, you know, like tied into the benefits of ACUA and?
The savings was, there was not really a savings in a sense, in considering the fact that with going out to private bid, we would have been about, we estimated we've been about the same that we would have been this year. The additional cost we had was we are actually purchasing the cans over a 5-year period.
Okay.
So at the end of 5 years, we'll own the cans, and when we go out to bid in the future, all we have to bid is the service, and the tipping fees are set by the county. That's standard. We looked at the quality of service, the ability to respond, again, the lack of service from the prior vendor. And we looked at this being more the Cadillac service compared to the Chevy service. And I think so far that they've proven that with their people and with their services they've provided. Also, it's a local company in the sense that ACUA is a local authority. They employ local people. And it's just an organization that's looked at as a model across the country of shared services of picking up trash in local communities provided at the local, at this county level.
And we gain 2 bulk items every week instead of.
The best part about it, you
Yeah.
put bulk out on a regular basis,
Yeah, the
you don't have to wait.
bulk, pickup. I did notice there was mattresses on Park Road, and I said, well, I hope that bulk traffic, pickup is
They got
in
'em.
effect. They got them. So I was very happy to see that the bulk is, and that has been a issue, because people, if they didn't have a place to put things, they just brought it out to the curb, and we sat and looked at them for the whole month until the bulk trash. And I am glad that we're using more labor from our community and being shared. I think it's a great thing. I'm not totally unhappy that I don't have a bigger trash can, and as pointed out, that maybe the capacity really is the same, but it appears to be smaller. Okay, so if you have any problems with any trash pickup, it's just ACUA and the 800 number, correct?
Yeah, they have an 800 number. I believe they have, you can email them. But that's one of the reasons we went to them, is reduced our labor costs, so we wouldn't have to funnel those, and they would go directly to the vendor, so they could respond more quickly. So it's on our website, I know, on a regular basis.
Yeah, they're not as efficient as they say they are, but I guess it's a work in progress. Because
transition.
I'm speaking from people that I know have tried to get a hold of them for pickup and whatever, and who to go to, email it. They don't email back sometimes. So we want to go to a little bit more efficiency in the ACUA if possible. Okay. And let's see. All right. I think that's about, oh, here it is. What's not in the 2021 budget? No reduction in force. You're talking about administrative, police
People.
force?
People.
people,
Overall, the workforce.
workforce.
Yes.
I thought, is it
No.
police or is it
No layoffs.
administrative? Okay, I know it was a stupid question, but so it's workforce. Okay. All right, looks good. All right, that's it for my questions.
The other members?
I think it's a very good budget. We lost 30 million in ratables this year, and we're coming in spending 300,000 less than we did last year.
And Judy, I appreciate you pointing out the fact that we have held the line since 2011 on employees. And as Arch pointed out, there's no gimmicks in this budget. We're not kicking the can down the road, no deferrals, no layoffs. Again, I think for what we've had to endure over the last year, it's a very, very good budget. Great job, Cynthia. Great job, Arch.
I think everybody in town knows how I felt about taxes year after year. Whenever they went up, I would be yelling and screaming and jumping up and down. And then you get up here and you start seeing all the numbers, and you have a pandemic, and things kind of change. And if anybody thinks that I'm at all happy about possibility of raising taxes, that's simply not true. I'm not happy about it, but I'm also a realist and I understand things. And I'm hoping and praying that the federal government gives us this money and we are able to do something. And I just want everybody to know that, you know, Charlie and I, we were on the budget committee, and Arch and Cynthia, you know, everybody looks through everything, and we're trying to figure every little way out to keep our costs down and keep our taxes down. And, you know, if there's any way we can do it, we will. We'll keep it at zero, but, you know, let's
I think
prepare
there's
for the worst, but hope for the best.
There you go. Well said. I think there's a very good possibility we'll be able to amend this, but this is what we're faced with right now. This is what we have to deal with. And great comments, Carl.
Are there any funds allocated here for recreation?
Well, I mean, there is going to be, as you can see, there is down payment on $2 million capital plan, which will include recreation and other things of that nature.
And that was my question in relation to recreation. Will it be according to state, federal, whether we have hometown celebration, all the different things? Is that something that we're just sort of waiting on, or will be in compliance as it happens?
Yes.
Yeah, we've budgeted for those celebrations. It's
Okay.
going to now come down to the pandemic or the requirements of the state and what we can do for assembly and what we can do. But we're going to try as much as we can.
Okay. I was curious, how much did we put it on for street maintenance?
The public works department budget is inclusive of street maintenance, and parks. I don't have the detail.
Okay.
Do you mean
Yeah,
paving? Paving?
Yeah,
wise?
paving and that sort of thing.
We've got 370,000, Steve, from the DOT grant, and then we have got to match that 370, which we are going to come up with some adjustments in some the 2018 and 15 bonds, so we can cover the match for that. So there's no impact on the budget, but there is, you know, $700,000 worth of improvements that are going to be done.
Okay. All right, just, you know, keep our roads going. Okay.
Anyone else? If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to accept the budget.
We have a motion.
Okay, second?
We have a motion and a second. Rita, could I get a roll call on this, please?
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, next we'll move on to discussions. Formal actions may be taken. We'll start with A, the green team.
What number is it?
That is
4A.
4A, Rodney.
I guess you saw the proposed resolution in the package.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody has any questions about it.
So Rodney, just with this, are we looking to, we're looking to raise it from 7 to 11, correct?
Yes,
And 2 alternates? And do the 11 include yourself or a member of township committee and the township employee, do you know?
doesn't include me.
It doesn't.
No.
How about the township employee, do you know?
Oh, I don't believe so, no. These are residents. But I must say the Green Team has done a fantastic job, and they've actually generated interest in the community. So we have more people interested than we can cover right now. And some of those people have professional backgrounds, and there's a lot of, or just hobbies that are beneficial to the community. So we're getting a great service, I think, from our citizens, fellow citizens.
Mr. Gashar, could I just ask, the resolution, the way it's written, I think we have to change the language, the way it's written. Because it could mean, when it says to a total of up to 11 members, it should just say 7 members to a total of 11 members. So we're just adding 5 members, right? Just so that the resolution is correct, and so that the clerk can follow through how many members there should be. There should be 11 total. Is that your understanding of the way they wrote the resolution?
Yeah, I think that was the goal.
Okay, and out of that 11.
The president of the Green Team right here,
Okay, so maybe,
Susan Lasarchik.
well, maybe we could get clarification, just if you're going to pass the resolution tonight, let's just make sure it's written appropriately. That's the only question I saw on it, and the mayor asked it.
Susan, would you like to speak on that?
Can you go back to the microphone, please?
Right back there.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring the microphone to her? Susan was our chair. Can you speak a little closer to the microphone and ask them?
Okay. Susan Lazarchuk, Chair of the Green Team. What was your question? My question is just the way that the resolution is written, you want the total number of members to be 11, correct?
It's bouncing.
And whatever language needs to be done to be legal is fine. My concern with having it be total 11 is what if I have a year where I don't have 11? I don't want there to be a problem. So I wanted flexibility. That was so, but I don't, I'm not a lawyer.
I don't think that's a problem,
No.
right? I mean,
No, you don't have to fill it all the way.
Okay.
I think the issue is just by having it up to 11 leaves a lot of questions out there. So I would just say you should have 11 members.
Okay,
And then you can fill it as it comes along.
okay.
And then my other question for you is when you have, so you'll have 11 plus 2 alternates.
Correct.
And then out of your 11, you want them, one to be a representative of the business district, one a representative for educational interests, right? So out of your 11, 2 will be of those.
Right, that's fine.
Okay. And then you'll have 2 other members out of the 11. One will be an employee of the city and one will be a member of the committee, correct?
I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember how we wrote it. If that was supposed to be
Yeah, I think
extra.
that's what it says.
You want me to give you a copy of it?
Sure.
And I have one.
Can I go hand her my copy or do we have?
Sure, and I have extra.
No, I only have the one I wrote.
Well,
You should keep yours.
yeah, please. Here we go. Right here. The question is, is it 11 members plus 2 alternates, and out of the 11 includes Rodney and Luann? Or are you asking for 13 members, including Rodney and Luann?
Or Luann.
In the original resolution, out of the 7, it did. It did not. It was 7 plus 2. So we're not sure if you're asking for 11 members or 13, including Rodney and Luann.
And I haven't, I mean, this is a lot shorter than what I originally wrote, so I don't remember what I originally wrote. We have 7 now, and then there's, I'm sorry, I don't.
It's okay, Susan. I mean, so, I mean, basically what Rita's at, I mean, do you want it to be a total of 11 members?
They have extra, because I think we have 5 new people. I don't know how many we have.
It looks like there's 5.
So I would write it for 13, including the township employee and the member of the governing body.
Okay, so we can fix that.
Okay. And
That's
then
fine.
13.
alternates, if we need them, is that?
Yes.
13 and 2 alternates, or 13?
So it would make it 15?
No, it-
13 and then
And
2
2
alternates is what
alternates.
she's asking.
okay.
Well,
I can
you're
fix that.
saying that the 2 from the township and the municipal employee would not be able to vote?
That's how she has it
Correct.
written in here. That's
Yeah.
correct.
And,
Right.
you know, like Winslow just says, these are the people that we have on the green team, and it's open and flexible. I mean, I just, you know, added this,
Mhm.
but, you know.
But we're trying to help you. Let's get it worked out.
Okay, great. I just wanted the opportunity to have more people because there's interest, and I think it's really important. I mean, you know, we follow Sustainable Jersey stuff, and you guys should all be doing more of this stuff. It'll save money for the whole municipality. It's a great program. It's meant to save money and create sustainability for, you know, if you don't know about it, we'd be happy to come and tell you more, because there's good stuff you guys should all be doing.
I appreciate that.
You got grant money also, right?
I'm sorry?
You got grant money also.
So we did. We received a $10,000 grant from Atlantic Electric and Sustainable Jersey. We subcontracted with Christopher Rupta, who's with Rutgers Water Resource. We've been out, Chris has been down. We went out with Brett and some volunteers. He's doing, so I'm sorry, I'm not really great without my notes too.
That's okay.
But Chris is amazing as far as stormwater management, green infrastructure. I have some handouts actually on green infrastructure, because the governor has required more green infrastructure going forward for you know, residences. Rain garden, I mean, there's all kinds of things we could be doing. Chris is here. He's going to be doing green, he's going to be doing impervious cover assessments, and then make recommendations. We were at the LEVY track with Brett. We went to Memorial Park. I mean, there's lots we can be doing, because stormwater is big issues.
He gave a virtual presentation that I logged in
Right,
on.
exactly.
Was very informative,
Right.
and then he met out with Brett, like you said, take a ride around town and see different opportunities.
In fact, some of us, including Luann, are doing, Rutgers is doing a Green Infrastructure Champion program. It's every other Friday morning. And Chris is an amazing resource. He's good.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's,
Are we to move tonight? Yeah,
And all we're doing is just trying to get the legalese right, that's all. We don't, you know.
Well, fortunately, we have one.
Yeah, we have.
So, quick question. If, I appreciate the work that Mr. Gashard and the Green Team do. If committee so desires, can we adopt this or introduce it or adopt it with the changes that
Yes.
were suggested?
Yeah, we understand the changes. I think we understood them earlier. It was just the way the language was. We weren't clear.
We weren't
and
sure.
With that clarification, I can just help tomorrow get it written in a fashion, but yeah, you can vote on it tonight.
And I believe it would be Susan's and Mr. Gashard's wish to add these 5 individuals this evening. Is that something that could be done?
Okay, can we add them before that's?
You asking the lawyer?
Get it
Yes.
straight.
Yes, you can. You did put the, you did put them on notice.
But aren't there 5 of these? Didn't we just add 4 spots?
No, we added 5 spots. We went from
Yeah, we
7
had,
to 11, that's 5. That's
Four.
4, uh-oh.
I'm no mathematician.
Darn,
But-
neither am I, that's why I'm a
From
lawyer.
7 to 11 is 4.
well, they
Okay.
do have them in order of how they,
Well, that would be, right, that would be an issue unless.
and then we're going to add alternates so we could name the fifth
could
as an
name one as
alternate.
an
Would that
alternate.
work?
Okay.
Doesn't one an employee?
They're already named.
They're
They're
already
already on there. Luann in our Public Works. Luann McCardle is our, and Ronnie Gashard's our committee person on it. That's already done. So the, and number 5 on here would be your alternate, is what you're thinking?
Yes. They've taken the time to go ahead and put them in the order of which they would like to see, so. Well, committee, what's your pleasure?
I'll make the motion to go ahead and approve it along with the
But
participants that are in it.
I'm looking up the, let's see, right now you have co-chairs, Susan and Francine.
Actually, that's really out of date.
We don't do the co-chairs.
I'm just trying to see who the members are now.
You have,
Do you have room for 5 or not?
you have Sue Marks, Susan Lazarchik, Donna Giuliano, Cynthia Myers. Is that 4? Correct me if I'm wrong. Audrey Palumbo, Carol Dupre, Heather Smansky. That's 7. You have a full board. You have 7, plus you have your municipal official, Luann McCardle, and your township committee. So you're at 9, including them, but you're going to 13. So you've got 4 openings plus 2 alternates.
Well, why don't we take, let's take we have a motion and a second on the resolution, correct?
Correct.
So with that, let's just do a roll call on it.
Can I ask to have the motion in the second again?
Yes.
I must have missed that. I'm
believe it was
sorry.
Mr.
Cheek, I motion.
I was probably looking up the other thing.
Rodney.
Okay. All right, Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link.
Yeah, I do have a question here. It seems as though all the applicants have already made application for it. Don't we want to put it out there that other people might want to be considered?
They were due the end of, normally they're due the end of December.
Yeah, but we're now opening it up. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't matter.
Up to you. I mean, I'm pleased with the people that we have, but that's not my decision.
Okay, because they are supposed to be approved by the mayor, correct?
Is it a committee appointment or mayor's appointment?
Committee.
Committee.
Yeah, they were all turned in.
They were
The latest
trying.
one was January 18th.
Yeah, but my point is now we've changed the parameters. Is it necessary to advertise again that we're taking applications for this?
I don't believe so. Would it be
I
necessary?
don't think
I mean, it's an advisory committee.
Yeah, if you
It is
had,
an advisory committee. I mean, you can err on the side of caution and do that, but it really, I don't think legally you're bound to put out notification again for it.
Okay.
I think you had, my understanding is, and I'm just,
The only rule that I know of, anybody that's going to be appointed has to fill in the application before they're seated on the board.
We normally don't really advertise for this stuff.
We put it on, just in December, I do, and that's it.
We should feel
That's up to
fortunate we have
committee.
volunteers.
Yeah.
right.
It's,
I
Okay.
think,
but right now, we're just voting on adding the membership, not any individual member,
Right.
right?
That's correct.
right,
okay.
that's what we're voting on now, but I think they want to move forward and vote on the,
We've done it both ways,
I
so,
think you can.
Thank you.
where was
You
I?
okay moving forward, Mr. Link?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have no objections. I just, thought, a lot of these things are predicated on getting things in before the end of December so that we have it for a reorg. And since we've changed the parameters, but it looks like there's 4 interested people here. So I guess it can stand there until the next time. Are there any people who are resigning from the green team that you know of? The question I have is, will this addition make it more wieldy to come up with some, things that you want to do, or you think it will improve it?
I think it's great. We have a young woman who's OCRES graduate, who's now going to school in Virginia. She's working with us. I mean, so
the more the merrier, is it?
the more the merrier, and everybody's, well, yes, I guess. And with your point, certainly anyone is entitled to come and participate with us. We are having hopefully a green fair April 17th. I mean, we mostly follow Sustainable Jersey, which I highly recommend everybody check out. There's 140 actions that can save that, and there's like certification actions up to ongoing process of discussion, research, and includes participation of over 150 New Jersey leaders and experts from federal and state agencies. I mean, if you check these out, all these things can benefit and help us live more sustainably. Like we're hopefully, we just got a technical assistance grant from Sustainable Jersey to work on doing an energy audit for the municipality. If we do that, and then there's things that we can do to save money with lighting. I mean, you could save hundreds of thousands of dollars if you do some of these projects. I mean, our frustration sometimes is
It's completely out of order.
getting you.
I'm in the
all
middle of a roll
interested.
call.
And to Mr. Gashard's point, I think each one of these individuals bring a separate set of skill sets that they feel would be
Yeah,
advantageous.
I understand that. Sometimes when we get more people on a committee, when you start voting for different things you want to do, that's one issue. And the other issue is, what is a quorum?
If you recall, we asked that question at a previous meeting because we wanted to get that out of the way.
Okay.
And because they are an advisory committee, there is no requirement for a quorum.
Oh.
So that's one of the things, because Mr. Gashard wanted to introduce this, I believe it was a meeting or two ago, and we wanted to get that question answered first.
Oh.
So,
I just
because we didn't want to
I
put
have
them
no
in a
idea.
situation where,
Yeah, if they needed a quorum, they could get nothing done if they didn't have the number of people show up.
We're a non-political advisory board, so I think we.
I don't remember where I am. You know where I am?
Yeah,
so we do have a motion and a second. And Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gashard, Mrs. Link,
yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Now the question is regarding the individuals. And if we want to move forward tonight, which I suggest we do, we could move 1 through 4 together. And then we'll take 5 separately. 1 through 4 would be regular members. Someone want to make that motion?
Yeah, I propose.
Second.
Or I move to vote on 1 through 4.
And just for the record, I'll read the names into it, Rodney. Christine Denmark, David Yeager, Lena Nugent, and Crystal Rodriguez. Okay? And so there's a motion and a second. Let's just roll call it, Rita, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gashard, Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Include Shane Winkler on that list, or did you include it?
Shane's going to be an alternate.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. So
okay.
now we're going to entertain a motion for an alternate on the green team, and that would be Shane Winkler.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, Rodney, keep up the good work. Sue,
Thank
keep up
you.
the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Next, we'll move on to 4B. And this is a discussion on fire coordinator for the township.
It's late list.
Oh, late list, okay.
Mr. Liston?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, there's been some discussion, between elected officials, myself and the police chief over the last few months regarding a better coordination between the existing fire departments and some financial oversight. In these discussions and talking to the chief, one of the things that came up was the overall looking at the fire departments themselves and trying to look at a more of a strategic plan than some type of short-term fixes. And I think we've got some options if the committee would consider them.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is this something that maybe you could reach out to, if committee agrees, maybe reach out to the DCA and get some advice and maybe some direction on?
Yeah, the
on this?
DCA has a study team up through their shared services department, and they will come in and at the request of the mayor, will come in and study departments of your community to see how you can be more efficient and how you can improve services. This is a no charge. That's why the DCA does it and doesn't cost. So it's something I reach out, and if you so wish, make the request and have them come in, and then I can update you from there.
I like the words "no charge."
Yeah, I'm going to comment on that.
Strings.
I don't know whether you're aware of it, but we did have a group study our fire situation and make recommendations. That was what, how many years ago? Maybe 8?
2010, I think I found it.
was, yep.
Yeah, this would be allowing up. I mean, one of the things they would do is they would take that old study as part of their base and then update it with the present situations and also the administrative issues that have come up since then, and take a look at the broader picture with the finances and the potential of some type of coordinating function by the township, along with certain recommendations for restructuring.
I think it's a great idea. I think, it's something we have talked about for, as Robbie's pointing out, for a better part of a decade. And so I would be in favor of it.
I just want to make sure that the fire companies are all involved in this also.
What they do is they bring in the fire departments and interview each of them and make sure they get input from and probably elected officials and different people around the community. And they look at your finances, they look at the budgets, they look at everything. So it's not just a cursory review, but it's got to involve the firefighters themselves for the fact that they're the ones on the front line.
Are you saying that we would bring in someone from outside to do this or within?
No, it'd be from the Department of Community Affairs. They have a local assistance bureau as part of their shared service function and part of their review. And they have people they have someone assigned just for fire who would come in and look at a fresh set of eyes, gives you a different point of view maybe, or may say you're doing a good job and continue on.
And I want to be clear, this is something we're looking to do to assist and help, the fire departments as a whole. So, it's a positive thing all the way around.
Do we need a motion for that?
What if some of the firemen don't like their suggestions or?
Well, that's they're part of the. I want to got to make sure everybody's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
You got to hear their concerns.
Yeah, all the concerns are aired, whatever. Yeah, I think that should be part of that thing, the booklet or whatever you go by, to make sure that we have input from our fire.
I mean, the
Change.
administrator put on the record that is part of the process, would be engaging them and getting input from them.
And you said this is free?
Yes.
Free? Okay. We're not hiring another person to do this, in other words, okay.
Do we need to do that in a form of a motion or
No, I think
or
you do it.
general
I think you
consensus?
just
We're
do it as a
fine?
mayor's request.
Okay, so you prepare the letter,
Yep.
Arch, and we'll move on from there. All right, next we'll move on to 5, public hearing adoption of ordinance. First one is A, ordinance 1949-2021, an ordinance renaming Article XXV Stormwater Management of the Land Use Development Code of the Township of Hamilton.
Hamilton.
I did say Hamilton, didn't
I thought you said Hamilton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I? Steve?
Thanks, Mayor. Ordinance 1949-2021, and the next one below that, 1915-2021 is a requirement. The state of New Jersey, DEP, has made a change in their requiring all municipalities to adopt this ordinance. Basically, it's an ordinance that changes the way stormwater designs occur. Basically, they don't want to see very large basins on projects. They want to keep basins broken up. 2.5 acre watersheds. They want to see more grass swales. They want to see oil water separators and certain types of pavement coming off like gas station project. So it's really done as an environmental issue. We do not have a choice. We are, I don't want to say forced to adopt these ordinances, but we're taking the directive from DEP, and we are under an MS4 permit that we have with DEP, and in order to keep in good standings, we pretty much have to.
Is this another expense for us?
Not for us, but there will be an added expense to developers, unfortunately, because of multiple basins as opposed to.
We just went through an application that was approved, CarMax application for planning board, and they used a very high-end, sophisticated design engineer from up in Princeton. He did a tremendous job. On that site, that 7-acre site, he actually had 5 stormwater. He did an excellent job. The benefit of this, more basins are, they will be shallower. And the example I always give is Buffalo Pike Associates, that large basins for that entire project once it gets built out. That basin is behind Starbucks. You won't see that in the future. You'll see smaller, a lot of basins you'll see could have grass swales in them. Some have grass on the bottom. So the expense, like the mayor said, it's going to be back on the developer, no expense.
Will they be planting more trees?
That's a function of our ordinance, which requires a lot of education.
Okay. Good. 'Cause
Chris
that's,
does an excellent job with that, by the way.
that absorbs a
Um,
lot.
Any other questions? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that would wish to speak on this? If so, please unmute yourself.
No one from the public is speaking up, Mr. Mayor.
Entertain a motion?
Closed public. Mayor?
Yes. Yes, but you do have to go to the microphone again, Susan, or we can bring it. Of course, you can leave them with us. Yeah. Yes, there you go.
I make a motion, we move to close public comment.
No, she's going to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought she was done, I'm sorry.
Susan Lazarchuk, Chair, Green Team. This is from Rutgers, and I brought some, and it talks about green infrastructure guidance, which is what you're talking about. And there's, like one of the things we looked at with LEVY track was impervious surface. I mean, and Judy, you're talking about trees, but there's a lot of other things that you can do. Rain gardens, and again, Chris Abrupta is the NASA, but
Thanks, Chief.
there's a lot of really innovative ideas. cisterns for residences, rain barrels. Actually, the ACUA is having a rain barrel workshop. There's lots of ways it's innovative and green infrastructure is less expensive than a lot of things. But anyway, this is a good book that I just brought some along to share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be
I'll
good.
make a motion to move ordinance 1949.
You got to close public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We had him. Richard, would you motion again, please?
I'll motion to move to close public comment.
Second it.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Now, Mr. Vitale will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to move ordinance 1949-2021.
Second it.
We have a
Second,
motion, a second. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and adopted.
Next, we have B, which is ordinance 1950-2021, an ordinance introducing Article XXV, a stormwater management outside of the Pinelands of the Land Use Development Code of the Township of Hamilton. Mr. Philippone has explained that this goes hand in hand with.
Let me just add one more thing to it. Our current stormwater ordinance has pineland and non-pineland amongst the ordinance. I wrote a letter to DEP in January saying pinelands need more time to review their portion, pinelands areas, they said about 6 more months. So we have actually like 2 ordinances, one to implement the new DEP requirements for non-pineland areas, and then we had to write a section identifying our current ordinance still applies if you're within the pinelands. So if the 2 ordinances would have been separate, it would have been a little bit easier. But with Amy's help, we were able to write 2 ordinances. We've already pre-sent them up to finance, because anytime you have an ordinance change from stormwater, finance has to do a review of it, and they've already given us an informal okay of working with these ordinances.
Oh, good.
Any other comments?
So if I understand that correctly, that means down the road, we'll be passing another ordinance.
In about 6 months, if finance gets good work done, we'll be back here.
Gotcha.
If they get on the same page. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do we have a map or something that defines what is the Pinelands and what isn't?
I can email one to everybody on the committee tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the public that wishes to speak, please unmute yourself. I'll entertain a motion. Close.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Make a motion to move ordinance 1950-2021.
Motion,
Second.
motion and a second. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and adopted.
Next, we will take C, ordinance 1950-2021, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Mr. Liston, please.
Certainly, this is an annual ordinance that is passed around the same time as the budget or sometimes before, that allows you to exceed the 2% cap, to go to 3.5% in future budgets in case you need to. Under the philosophy is the fact that the governing body should be aware of this financial move and that it should be done by ordinance. Again, this may not ever happen, but it does give us the ability in the future, and we can't do it after the budget, so this is a planning mechanism financially.
Questions from the committee? Then we'll open, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak? Hearing none.
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion moving ordinance 1951,
2020.
2021.
Second.
Motion and a second. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard? Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Batali?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and adopted.
Next, we'll move on to introduction of ordinances. Public hearing to be held April 5th, 2021. First, we have A, ordinance 1952-2021, an ordinance authorizing the sale of lots 1, 2.01, 2.02, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.01, 9, 10, 11, 12 in Block 95, which is defined as Brussels Avenue, as shown on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton, and granting to the owner or owners of said real property contiguous to the same the right to prior refusal to purchase such land in the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, and State of New Jersey. Wait, we couldn't shorten that one?
Jeez.
This is a standard continuous property owner. This is up in the Missouri area and benefits the township by putting these back on the tax roll.
Any questions? You see these all the time, it's pretty standard. I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion to move ordinance 1952-2021.
Thank you.
Second it.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we'll move on to 6B, ordinance 1953-2021, an ordinance amending Exhibit A, Section 1, Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of Township of Hamilton, providing for the maximum number of employees.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is, I have lost this. Do you have this?
I have it.
Which one is it?
You need a copy, Cindy?
I don't have the actual ordinance in it, but if my memory serves me, this is the ordinance to add and delete certain positions when we reviewed the entire salary and wage ordinance. I believe it deletes some dual positions that have been rolled into employees' job descriptions. It adds the Deputy Director of Public Works, the Land Use Administrator, and the Finance Assistant. And then it deletes Deputy Chief, Special Project Manager.
For not having it in front of you, you're doing really good.
I'm afraid she, here, I've been waving it. I think you forgot the clean communities or something?
Oh, yes, and it adds the position of Clean Communities and Recycling Coordinator, which is, yes, will roll into a dual position, a regular dual position.
So we had previously had discussion on all these. I'm sure
Yes.
everyone will remember. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we'll move on to 6C, ordinance 1954-2021, an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, providing for annual salary increases and increases in salary maximums for certain employees.
This ordinance gives annual increases for certain employees for 2% for January 1st to 2021, and also 2 years 2022, I'm sorry, at 2% as well.
Again, we've had multiple discussions. Is there any questions? And this is included in the budget that was presented this evening. Committee, what's your pleasure?
I'll motion.
So move second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next, we have 7A, which is the award of bids, contract change orders. First, we have 7A, resolution approving change order number 1, 2018, Local Freight Impact Fund, Cantillion Boulevard, bid 2019-12, an increase in the amount of $3,378.43. I see this is a recommendation from our traffic engineer, Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, this is for Cantillion Boulevard. It's a change of only $3,300 on a $246,000 contract. It changes the installed quantity of anticipated tonnage relative to the overall limits of the work.
Okay.
Any questions, committee? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Rita, could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Items A through D and F. Any questions?
I'm good with that.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
All right,
So
there's a
moved.
motion.
Second. Second.
All right, motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We should do a motion to remove 8E, correct?
You did that via the late list.
Yes, thank you. Next, we'll move on to 9, personnel. A, accept resignation of Carl Vitale as Class 3 member of Hamilton Township Planning Board. Carl, thank you very much for serving on that board. And I'm sure that Carl would continue to serve, but unfortunately, we can't have 3 of us on that board.
My 2 meetings or 3 meetings,
You were a rock star.
were rather eye-opening, and it's pretty impressive. I guess I was there for 2 of the bigger things that have come through in the past couple of months. So very impressive, very.
So that's why they.
Yeah, it was neat. How's that?
I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I think that the planning board has a lot of quality individuals, independent thinkers that really weigh the options for the township and the developer coming in and get the best for both. And I think that's.
And one thing I will say, it's very frustrating having to do everything virtually.
Oh.
That's very hard. I would even venture to say that if we didn't have to do things virtually, we would have had one of them done sooner.
I agree.
And I hate to say that because that costs them money. It costs us money too. It's frustrating that to see that happen.
Hopefully, we keep getting vaccinated and we'll see
Yeah,
that.
and get everything back in person.
So I'll entertain a motion to Carl's
I'll make
resignation.
that motion, and Carl, I thank you as well.
You're welcome.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ayes have it. B, resolution appointing a Class 3 member of Hamilton Township Planning Board for an unexpired 1-year term to expire 12/31/2021. And I would like to recommend that be Mr. Cheek, who's been our chairman for some time now and does an absolutely fantastic job.
I'll second Mr. Cheek.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please, Rita.
Mr. Cheek?
Abstain.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
Could I get a minute? Yes.
4 yes, 1 abstention, motion carries.
Welcome back, Rich.
Well, so I just moved from number 4 to number 3, huh?
Yes, you did.
All right.
Next, we have 9C, Mayor's appointment of a Class 4 member of Hamilton Township Planning Board to fill the vacancy of Richard Cheek, unexpired term to expire 12/31/23. I would like to move Marietta Borkowski from an alternate into that position.
Second.
Since it's a mayor's appointment.
Yeah,
The
you
mayor's
need a second,
appointment, yeah.
Next, we'll move on to 9D, resolution appointing Bronte Dunkley as a full-time police officer for the police department at step 1 of the CBA with a salary of $46,882.65. Start date to be determined, contingent upon successful completion of the background process.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Rita, could we get a roll call on that, please?
Yes. Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
And Mayor Kane?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
And next, we'll move on to 9E, resolution appointing a youth services and protection coordinator at a salary of $50,000 contingent upon successful completion of a background check and post-offer physical drug screen, and the start date is to be determined. Boy, I hope our coordinator passes their background check.
So I would like you to, at this point, we did an interview process. Carol Wright is the person that we selected. So I would request that you appoint her as the youth protection coordinator.
Committee, what's your pleasure?
Carol White.
Well, the requirements for that job, specified requirements.
She meets the requirements and then some. She has 15 years in that field. She worked over at the Township Hamilton schools doing much the same work that she'll be doing now in this position. She'll be a humongous asset, not only to the background part of it, but to the community as a whole.
Will she be carrying both positions?
No, she will not be.
She'll resign
from the school position and she'll be working.
Yeah, she's highly recommended, I
Yes.
definitely say. Carol? Great gal.
Still in Powell?
I'm sorry.
She's still the Powell?
Yes.
coordinator?
She's still there.
I'll entertain a motion. Should we take it separately, or can we just add her name?
I would do it separately.
Do it separate. So I'll entertain a motion for the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Rita, since it involves, can we get a roll call on it, please?
Yeah, but this resolution will be with her name. We've already created the position, correct? So it's this resolution would be appointing Carol Wright
Okay,
at that salary. If you look at the draft, everything's done except there's X's for the name.
okay.
All right?
Could I just get an amendment on the motion in a second? The motion.
Oh, okay.
You did?
I don't,
Withdraw the motion. You
I'll
have
make
to
the motion
withdraw
now.
it and then,
To add Carol Wright.
to add Carol Wright.
Mhm.
Motion second?
I'll second it.
All right. Motion is second. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Next, we have 10 approvals. A, minutes, regular meeting minutes, March 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have B, minutes, executive session, meeting minutes of March 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Rita, can we get a roll call on that, please?
Yes. Sorry. Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
Rita, thank you for getting them out so quickly to us. We do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yes. C, bills, bill list total, $2,378,600.44.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right. Now we'll move to reports. Mr. Administrator?
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I have to add this evening, just to clarify, Mrs. Link, your situation with your trash can. Brett has texted me from his vacation in Florida, which he must be having a wonderful time if he's watching the meeting.
He's
in
watching the
Texas.
meeting? What's he
Yes.
doing?
And their records indicate that you had requested a 64-gallon trash container. So you had gotten a smaller trash container. You're right, it's smaller than the regular ones.
Yeah.
That's what their records reflect.
I requested a smaller one?
Yes,
At
Really?
some point,
yes,
you must have.
Really?
yes. So
I'd
if you
have
like a
to-
larger
I'd
one,
have
we
to
can get a
look at
larger
that
one.
record.
If you want a larger one, I can have one dropped off. I mean, so.
Yeah, I would. I
All
would.
right, now, you have to give us the other one back though. Okay.
Maybe.
Or $100.
Okay. All right. Very
She did
good.
say they're trashy people. She
Well,
may
I
need
know.
that extra
Okay.
can.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's
Amy?
pretty good.
The only thing we have to report is we believe that Mr. Sandman will be back by your next meeting in April.
Good. Hopefully he's doing well. Thank
He's
you.
doing well.
Thank you.
Mr. Engineer?
Mayor, Committee, a few items. First, I want to report on the Lake Lenape Dam. The county is currently reviewing the WFP, the design engineer, submitted a proposal for the full design, and reviewing that design, the proposal currently. We have our next scheduled virtual meeting, March 22nd. And the third thing I want to report is that Carl Vitale was instrumental in getting Jeff Van Drew to come visit, do an inspection and a tour of the dam. That's going to occur on March 26th. And when you think about Jeff Van Drew being involved with, a personal inspection of the dam, that helps us down the road with permitting. When WSP submits permits to the state, you got Jeff Van Drew making a phone call to DEP. There was also mentioned about 6 months ago there could be some possible grant applications available, if you remember, Carl. We don't know any of the details, but that's like on the construction. So this is such a positive thing that Jeff Van Drew telling me. Great idea, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Continental Bridge, we're working on it, currently on schedule. We're working on the sidewalk right now, the ceilings and joints. We're working on the approach flats. They're telling me they are still on schedule. We will continue to monitor that.
Don't move those barricades because they'll start driving over it. It's ready.
I walk it. Advisable for anybody else.
No.
I wasn't suggesting that. I'm just saying, I visited it on Saturday and you can see the progress. I mean, it's moving along and it looks good.
The next item, Atlantic Avenue. We have a pre-construction meeting next Tuesday morning for Atlantic Avenue. That's from the post office to the jail, the county justice complex. Construction will start on or about April 1st. And you mentioned about putting the budget, about money put aside in part of the budget for road construction. So Atlantic Avenue was a $325,000 DOT grant.
Oh, okay.
The contract came in at $369,000. So the township $44,000 portion of Atlantic Avenue was out of last year's budget.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. We see.
So we do a lot of road.
Are you the one who is submitting these, requests for grants?
I am.
A lot of kudos. Thank you.
Does a good job.
Steve, have we heard anything on the train station?
We have not heard anything.
Well, I'd really like to see that come through.
That would be a really good grant. The next item I have is the Public Works pole barn. Last fall, we gave a brief presentation where the full salt building is. That building is going to be removed by Brett. And on that slab, which is 40 feet by 90 feet, we've advertised for bids. That contract will pick them up. On March 26th, we're going to have bid opening for that pole barn building to be constructed about that slab. include car rental.
Thank you, Steve. Judy?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to Steve about an issue. When you exit from 322 on, and you're going to Walmart, there is a big lip or a giant lip that exists, and I was wondering, can you get the state to smooth that out, or?
Well, there was at one point, there was a 5% change in grade, 5-inch change in grade there.
Oh, wow.
The mill was down, but I know what you're talking about. I will talk to the DOT and the contractor to get that correct.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I'm happy to see that we're moving along with the Lake Lenape Dam, since my father was involved in its repair in 1975. And, you know, we at Lake Lenape, we owned Lake Lenape at that time, and we had to have our people swim in waist-high water at that point. Through, you know, I probably would have said forget it, but my parents were very persistent in keeping that place open and so on and so forth. So, 78, Hamilton Township bought the dam, but then in 1980, Atlantic County became like 50-50 responsible, or because they bought the land from Tunney, underneath the Lake Lenape. So who is in charge of that, us or them, or both?
I know it's a 50-50 split between us and the county to reconstruct that.
Okay, but it always seems as though, oh, they don't like the way our proposals. Who has the 51% in saying, well, really, it's our proposal that counts?
They formed, there's a document where they formed
50-50.
We have 3 township committees now, three members from the community that are on the dam committee in the county.
Okay. All right. I mean, because, I mean, since 80, come on, it's been 41 years where we haven't really moved. I mean, we haven't finally brought to bed this thing with the dam. I mean, we're making a progress. Okay, but it's 40 some years. I mean,
I have every confidence that Mr. Patali Deputy Mayor will continue.
he isn't
to
even
drive
he isn't
this
even 40.
Till
You
there's
know?
a new dam
I'm
there.
not 40. I wish I wasn't 40. I was saying, I think some of the work that was done at the dam, when they did the roller compacted concrete and everything like that, was not really what you think of as the dam. It's a spillway. So I don't even know if the township owned that property. So we probably had no say back then on what happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the idea, the dam is just not the spillway. It's all.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. But I'm really happy that this can be moved along, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll start with the dam.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Okay.
Anything else, Judy?
This was brought to my attention, and I don't know how we have input with this. It's a push to change parental notification in New Jersey pot laws. It was brought to my attention that the parents really want to know if the child has been involved in, a situation with pot. And here it says, well, the police are not allowed to say anything until the second occurrence. So I don't know, do we have any say or input in that law?
Unfortunately, I mean, obviously you can let your voice be heard, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do. And I was shocked to see that in there myself. I was shocked. I mean, I understand a lot of what they're trying to accomplish, but I think sometimes we take things a little bit too far, and I think that was a little stretch. I mean, I would want to know if my underage child was participating. But
Yeah. So the recommendation would be to, is it already a done deal or is it in progress?
they are, I understand, I had read over the weekend that they are reconsidering portions of it. I believe Stockton is also holding a webinar on everything involved in that legislation. So I believe that there is going to be some movement. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
So if
I get-
they speak to their local legislator, the assembly, the state, the
That's what I would
Senate,
suggest doing. I mean, for those
Reach
that
out
have
to you.
concerns, reach out to, those at the state level that can make a difference.
Yeah, I thought what they said in the newspaper, they didn't want to have the child go with a stigma or whatever, but I think that is a little bit too far, not letting their parents know.
I would agree with you.
So, okay, that's it.
Deputy Mayor?
Had a rather busy past couple of weeks. I moved, so really don't know what's going on. But one thing that did happen since I moved was they were looking. There's little free libraries that are popping up around town that Mr. and Mrs. Hudson are making and installing. Mrs. Hudson was my third grade teacher. Mr. Hudson, who I call Woody, was my woodshop teacher in 7th and 8th grade. So I reached out and offered up my house. So now I have a little free library. It's on Lake Drive. There's, I believe, 5 more through town. One's over at Lake Lenape West. There's one out in Laureldale. There's one in front of St. Vincent's School. And there's one in front of the Hudson's house on Acorn Terrace. It's there's books in there. Go in, take a book, leave a book. Probably fit about 40 books in there. But that's just something that I did down there in my neck of the woods. They're looking for more locations. They want something out in the MISPA section, looking for something out around Misty Pines or something like that. So if anybody knows somebody that's interested, would like to have a little free library, they'll build it, they'll install it, and give you the information on what you have to do. It's pretty neat. Look it up on the internet, little free library, and pops up. They're all over the country. Pretty interesting. And that's really all I have to say.
Do they have any over at Cloverleaf, or did they say?
I actually, they were over the other day, and I did say something about Cloverleaf.
Okay.
And a couple names were brought up, so we're looking into it.
And no X-rated books are allowed?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Malik, and no Dr. Zeus?
I don't have a problem with Dr. Seuss in my little library. Mine's more geared towards history, so.
Okay. All right,
Anything else?
very good.
Oh, Reagan, Maddie, miss you, love you, hope to see you soon.
I was waiting for it.
Thank you.
I was pausing. Mr. Gashard?
I don't have anything today. I just hope that everyone stays healthy and gets their vaccine as soon as possible.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sheik. Yes, Mr. Patali, thank you for your service on the planning board, and you were in one of the most interesting times, I must say. As a new member of the planning board now, CarMax and Lomax got their approvals this last week or so or whatever, which is a result of the redevelopment that the planning board was working hand in hand with Township Committee through the last couple of years. And it's just very nice to see that it's starting to come to fruition. We have other companies interested in the township, and with a $30 million loss in commercial revenue, or not revenue, rateable, bringing CarMax and Lomax back in, and the interest we have, it's very rewarding as a member, actually as the chair of the planning board for so many years, and the work we did understanding and learning the redevelopment. No one knew it. It was strange to everyone, and we worked through it along with Township Committee, and it's just very nice to see all that coming through. So
Appreciate that.
that's it.
And Richie can attest to the fact that we've seen some of the most unique applications come before us some of the, I mean, things I haven't seen in all the years that we've been doing this together on that board. We've had some of the most unique applications come before us with requests, and through our professionals and the board members, to get them deciphered in one evening in most cases, to get the developer moving, I think is something worth mentioning.
Oh, it's definitely worth mentioning. And even the mall, when the mall came to subdivide, now everyone knows the mall's in trouble. They're doing whatever they can to stay afloat. And we started out thinking in the beginning of the night, no way is this going to happen. And at the end of the night, it's like, hey, it happened. I mean, it was just, I never heard of it. None on the board ever heard of it. But we got it through and did the best what we thought we could do. And
as Carl had pointed out earlier, I mean, CarMax would have been done in one evening if it wasn't for the limitations of, and please, I appreciate the great job that Lisa does and Chris does preparing these meetings, but it's difficult when you're trying to take testimony, and it slows things down and people step over one another, and it slows the process down a little bit. But we would have, I'm confident we would have got CarMax done in one night.
CarMax would have been done in one night, yes.
But they're going to be a great corporate partner for us. We need them to get a shovel on the ground. Lomax has started.
Yes.
If you've driven by, you'll notice there was a lot of pruning going on today. They're really cleaning the place up. They are working diligently, and I believe they're looking at the end of April for their opening. And I think once you see that blight being restored to, something, an asset for the township, hopefully that'll then extend into the other building, and hopefully it'll bring something else to the
Anybody doesn't
area.
know
Is that Toys R Us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's,
Yep. They gave us a great presentation. They were very prepared, and they're going to be a real asset to the community, and they're looking to hire people right away. So that's a fantastic thing.
Even going back to Toys R Us and McDonald's were owned one lot. It started, a year ago, Charles?
Yeah.
Dividing Toys R Us and McDonald's and sharing a retention pond. Who would ever think that would be coming across?
Never saw, again, in all the years.
Yeah, and the redevelopment, it just warranted for that.
It gives us a lot more flexibility to make these things happen.
Yes.
And now you look at it, you got someone that's coming in spending millions of dollars, and it's going to hire 40 to 50 local people. So that's a fantastic thing. I just have a couple of comments. I was going to mention the festival cleanup, seeing it happen, seeing it start there. It's great to see. We do have a new K9 on the road. Sky was introduced a few months back, I believe it was. So that's good to see. And the chief and I had a meeting with residents of MISPA at the Lundy Center, which, by the way, looks fantastic. It looks great out there. And I think overall, I think that they were able to voice their concerns with the plan that we have moving forward. Obviously, we all know we want to not only restore services, but we want to enhance services out there. And I think overall, it was well received. We took the criticisms that were offered up to us, and some ideas that were offered up, and we're looking into integrating those and coming out with a product that really enhances that community. So, and the whole western part of the town. So I think that it was the right thing to do, and I think it went well. So let's just keep moving forward with it. With that, I will open it up to the public. Is there anyone on the public that would wish to speak? If so, please unmute yourself.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to allow people to unmute themselves. If you just ask them to please speak one at a time and be patient.
The request is if you unmute yourself and please be respectful of one another, speak one at a time. So is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak? Again, if you wish to speak, please unmute yourself.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment or a couple questions.
Of course. I know who you are, but would you state your name, please?
Bruce Stride, North Street.
Go ahead, Bruce.
4B, the fire coordinator, and I know you're just exploring this, but in light of developments over the last several months with the MISPA Fire Company, some things, and generally speaking, not specifically, but generally with organizations, nonprofits that the township or taxpayers' dollars go to fund, I think it might be a time that since you're looking at a fire coordinator, I don't know if that would be actual firefighting or administration. It might be a good idea as a suggestion going forward to protect everyone concerned, that being the volunteer organizations, whether it's any fire company or athletic associations or anyone that receives taxpayer funding. I think it was interesting that in the situation with MISPA, it wasn't sure what the nonprofit status was, the property ownership, receipts and funding. I just think that it might be a good idea for the township committee to require annual audits of any organization that are funded with taxpayers' dollars. That would, I think, keep everybody out of potential controversies. I've served as president of several nonprofits myself over the years, and we, as a board, we conducted audits every year just to keep everything above board and keep ourselves honest and make sure we knew all the funding was going, make sure we took care of tax obligations if not if you pay it, but you certainly have to report. So I think when taxpayers' dollars are funding any nonprofit, I think it would be something to consider to have audits done annually to keep everybody transparent.
I appreciate your comments, Mr. Stry.
Mr. Percy has his hand up.
Jack?
Hi, good evening, members of the committee. It's John Percy from Laurel Street. In the introduction of the budget, mention was made of the American Rescue Plan and some funds coming from that plan. Maybe I missed it, but were any dollar amount attached to that?
Right now, Jack, we're looking in the neighborhood, we're hoping the neighborhood of 2.5 million
Oy vey.
over 2 years.
Oh, okay. But I heard a rumor, and I can't really put my finger where I heard it or where the rumor came from, but the funds coming from this American Rescue Plan are not supposed to be used to reduce taxes. Have you heard that?
We have not heard that. We are waiting on the ruling coming down of how we're going to be able to use it, but I have not heard that.
I just heard it as a rumor. There's no factual, nothing factual, but I heard it as a rumor. That would be that could really hurt. So that's the only two questions I had. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Go ahead, Rodney.
A motion that we end the meeting,
We got to close the public portion first.
close the public portion.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Rodney?
Motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.